Hello, everyone. Wishing you a very happy moment of the day as you are watching this from various corners of the world. As promised, we will be interviewing three tech people to throw light on the topic digital technology and innovation for gender equality, which is the theme of this year Women's International Day. We are here with our first interview at the Revolving Perspective, powered by positivity and sponsored by continued effort to bring in enlightenment with Mr. Akshay Sethia. He is a serial entrepreneur in the tech field who loves tinkering with the latest technology. He mentors startups and is a part of ecosystem. He also teaches futuristic technologies and entrepreneurship at MICA as a guest lecturer. Welcome, Akshay.
Thank you, Neelu. Thank you so much and good morning.
Welcome to the Revolving Perspective. As we strive for greater diversity and inclusion in the technology industry, I'm honored to have an opportunity to interview you, Akshay, a very talented entrepreneur in technology. I believe you will bring unique perspective and valuable skills to the field, and we will get to know your experiences and insight about the topic.
Sure, Neelu. I will try my best.
So let's start with, what do you think, Akshay? How can technology enable women to start their own business and pursue entrepreneurship?
Very good question. I think so. It has never been a better time in terms of technology aiding to be an entrepreneur. We always talk about gender equality, gender neutrality. I think so. Tech is the best gender equality or gender neutrality for everybody. It's the only platform that does not bias against women or bias against men, but will not allow you to use a certain feature if you're a woman, or if, use an extra feature if you are a man. And this has been, unprecedented in the history in terms of the power that today, everybody has in the palm of their hands, which was not there earlier. The biggest problem, if we talk about, was the access to knowledge and access to the larger mentorship that women did not have to really start an entrepreneurship earlier. It was more of a male domain, but not anymore. Today technology is accessible equally to somebody sitting in Chumri Talaya or somebody sitting in Silicon Valley. They have the access to same sort of information thanks to the technology, thanks to all the channels, all the YouTube channels, all the learnings which is available. But what is also I've been seeing a change is in the attitude, of just not being, taken aback or a second role. Women are coming up into entrepreneurship. I'm in my field. I see a lot of startups which are being now started by women, and they are in tech of nature. Like new CTOs globally, a lot of women are now becoming CTOs also of large companies. Let's say even Coca-Cola CTO is also a woman right now. This is where I think so. Today, technology really enables women to be the best entrepreneur that they can be, because it really leaves out two very important things. One is knowledge, and second is mentorship and trying to test out their ideas across the world.
That is awesome. I appreciate your views regarding same. So on that line, my next question to you is, so what do you think? How technology advancement have helped address the unique challenges which are faced by women in developing countries?
Let's take example of India. I think so. Earlier when we used to really travel, the overall use of mobile phones of female was not much, especially in the tier 2, tier city, 3 cities. Now it has really increased a lot. If you see the latest data, it's as good as every woman also has a mobile phone and access and internet access over there. If you also see, in terms of the knowledge part of it, a lot of interesting apps are now created very, very specifically keeping women in mind, keeping women users in mind. So let's say even if you see, let's say Uber had that, there a lot of women users of Uber to make them feel safe. They had this SOS button so that you can make sure that you can use this technology without any fear. You could use this technology and the entire ecosystem without any fear. The same way, I think so, it is slowly and slowly penetrating. Earlier, the technology started with entertainment. People wanted the mobile phones for entertainment. They were able to see videos and with Facebook, Instagram coming up. But now I see a lot of interesting applications which are being used, especially for safety purposes and for learning purposes. So that is really helping on the developing countries, for all the women, especially girls, to really think much more bigger, much more wider than they ever thought.
Yeah, I think the need also is initiated at the times of COVID. I remember when
Yes.
it was COVID, my parents would never know that what is Zoom or what is Google Meet. But those COVID times, everyone wanted to be get connected, and they learn like my mother can now access to Zoom and Google Meet, and they were having interactions, family interactions during those days. So even they are using technology, and I was so happy about it. So the need and the desire gives an opportunity for women or anyone to learn it, I believe.
Exactly, and I think so. Whatever said and done, there's so many people's lives are lost due to Corona. But in terms of technology, that made the entire world at least 5 years, 7 years ahead. I'll give you a very small example of how technology has been used.
Hmm.
I used to understand, we generally assume that technology cannot be used by people who are not able to read and write, right?
Okay.
If
Yeah.
how would you make an illiterate or somebody who really does not know how to
Yeah.
read and write use the technology? I'll
Yeah.
give you a right example. Just a few days back, I was just in my kitchen and a house help listening to a voice message, and I said,
Okay.
what are you doing on WhatsApp? I was just chit chatting with him, and he said that I'm just communicating with my wife. His wife had come once, and I'd asked her. She said, no, I does not know how to read and write. And I said, then
Huh.
how are you communicating on WhatsApp with her? So just
Oh,
using voice notes. She just types a voice note, sends it to me, and I type a voice note and send it to her. Now,
wonderful.
but this is where I think, people who want to use technology, they are very, very innovative. They'll find a way to use the technology to their advantage.
Yes.
There was a wonderful experiment that was done, a
Huh.
few years back. They had dropped a few technology pieces like a tag and everything into an African village where they've never seen any sort of technology,
Hmm.
and they realized that after a certain time, the kids really started doing it by themselves, just by doing it. The once you have access, people will start doing it. I think so. Thanks to the telecom network, this access is now really with everybody.
Hmm. So do you think this technology is being made and developed for women? Is it woman friendly?
I think so. Most of the technologies are women friendly. I would not, I cannot pinpoint any specific technology that are not women friendly. But today, the technology is becoming and specifically been creating, keeping women folks in the mind. So let's say, for example, uh, the safety part of it. So
Hmm.
whether it is the shopping apps, they're majorly web women users
Yes.
are using it. There are a lot of features which they would know are easier for women. Even dating apps, so they have a specific security features to keep women in mind, so that they should feel comfortable using those apps across the globe. Whether it is India or whether it is developing country or the advanced countries. Most of the apps today have features which are specifically designed for women so that they could use it. And the only reason is they see them as one of the biggest potential users for their product and services. And that with economic freedom, with more and more women coming to workforce, once they start also having economic power, which is now getting better across the world, it has to be made for them.
That is rightly said. But if we talk about Akshay, in not only shopping apps or
Hmm.
the apps which are being definitely used by women, so shopping to women's favorite. So anywhere you add that feature, and they will definitely use it. So if we don't add that feature, and if we talk about corporate world, what do you
Yes.
think? How technology innovations such as virtual reality and artificial intelligence helps to break down barriers for women in traditional male dominating work.
Yeah, so I would still say, yes, you are right in terms of traditional male domination was there. But if you look at the figures, like,
Yeah.
that is that is breaking slowly and gradually. It is not going to be an overnight flip of a coin. Like, it will take its own time.
Hmm.
But if you see the CTOs, the women CTOs in tech industries, 10 years down, like let's say before 10 years, in
Hmm.
2002, 2012, and 2013, Today, they are double in terms of percentage. Now, this is really amazing. Earlier, we all had biases. We thought, women were more creative and not very logical when it came to coding. That was this bias, which was there earlier, but not anymore. Not anymore. Today, even if you see, companies like Infosys, Wipro, and all, there's no discrimination in terms of gender based on technology. That's the reason I'm telling you today is one of the best time for women to feel equal thanks to technology. They may not feel still equal when it comes to production, or being other places where you need the real hard work or something else. But technology is one area where you see women can make the biggest dent in the so-called male-dominated world because it has got no entry barriers. The only thing that you require is to just go ahead, create, and spread it across the world. And I think so that's been done wonderfully well nowadays by women.
But do you think, yeah, there are women in tech fields, but do you think they are being paid equally? As research says, they are not paid equally as men. Maybe they are on the post, but there is a difference in the pay scale.
Yes, I would agree to that. There is a difference in the pay scale,
Yeah.
and that gender bias is being now brought into the public eye across the world. Across the world, not only on let's say the tech side, even non-tech side. Like a cricket or a women cricketer who gets less than a male cricketer in terms of playing one single match in the same sort of effort. Things are changing. Things are changing. Like I said, it takes a little time to change, but the things are going the positive side. If you see very recently, BCCI said women cricketer will get the same amount of pay per match as a male cricketer. These are good signs globally. Let's say in US and all, it is happening. In the corporate world, what has happened? Men, because the top were men, the good networking they happened, and they always were able to demand. They used to get it. I personally feel sometimes more of a psychological thing that women would generally not demand that I want it in terms of payment. And that's the reason they're not getting. But the voices are changing. Equality is changing. The pay parity, if you see again the last 10-year figures, it has reduced drastically. Earlier it was double the pay parity, but now it has reduced to few percentage points, just by 5, 7, 10%. Going ahead, next 10, 12 years, I'm sure it will be all at par, specifically when it comes to knowledge-based industry.
I absolutely agree to what you said, that the initiative, and if there is a demand from the woman, nobody can stop her. She can do that. Absolutely agreed. But I think women are being conditioned in such a way, and
Agree.
because of the culture India carries, it's being like that. Women are not thinking from that perspective, and they are thinking from a feminine perspective, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that the entire bringing up of one thing was, just let it go. Just don't get too much into trouble. This is money, something that you should not worry about. Now,
Huh.
these all sort of, I would say, uh, talks have been there in most of the families,
Hmm.
and that becomes part of it. But I think so. The new generation. I'm just mentoring a startup, young women in that, all from schools. I could see that spark. I could see that zeal, and I'm really loving that stuff.
Yes, and this new generation is so much into it that if they want it, they want it. Nobody can stop them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the best part is the parents have brought them up to like that. I think I would also give a lot of contribution and thanks to the parents because they were able to get that freedom from the word go to their women child. So that is really making a lot of difference.
Absolutely agreed. If I share my experience, like the way I've been brought up is simply so very different from the way I have brought up my daughter. And I always used to say her one point: I won't get you married until unless you're financially independent. And
True.
so this was the thing which I used to discuss, and that inculcated in her mind that yes, she has to be financially independent, she has to do something. So the way we are being brought up matters a lot. And today she is into tech field, she's in data analytics. So I'm happy about
Wow.
that. Yeah.
That's really amazing. But I think the one major thing that's also required these days is also how you upbring boys.
Yes.
By not telling them that you are a superior race, just by telling that it's all equality. If I'm raising my kids, I don't tell them that you are better, or you do this, you do not do this. It's equality for all. It's a
They need
responsibility
to
at both
make
the end.
sure
You
of
need
it.
to
Yeah.
empower women, girls into a very very brave sort of people to go out, and also boys to make sure that it's an equal world these days. Do not expect things that your mom did will be done by somebody else today. Those things are
Yes.
completely out of scope.
Yes. So when you say empower women, I always believe why people say empower women. Women are already empowered. I just don't relate with that word empower women. Why is
Uh,
it discrimination that women need to be empowered and men are already empowered? No, women are
so there's a very interesting word. So I was just going through a very interesting debate upon equality, right? We're
uh,
talking about equality with men, female, and men equality, but gender, like in terms of our hardwired, there's a lot of things we can never be equal. Like women are hardwired to be multitasking, a men cannot be. There is
yeah,
no, and
absolutely.
this is scientific data now. It is not something that we are talking about. This is all proven scientific fact these days. Empowerment, I would say, in a very different term. Empowerment more in terms of bringing them in the limelight and forcing them to take the power. Because women, having bought in a way where they would not take the power till somebody really tells them out. They'll think about 50 different things before getting onto a power. And that's the reason, sometimes we need to push into them and empower them to take on the positions so that they could better. And think of my definition of empowerment is not about self-empowerment, but my definition of empowerment is just push them to do it and then see the best result that we can provide.
That's great. I like that perspective. So your view is like women should be supported and should be motivated by this so-called men dominating society, or and they shall be given an platform and opportunity to excel in technology, right?
I 100% agree. I think so. Globally, men have this fear that women will overtake them. This is also a reason, why they would certainly would want to, control women. When you see historically also, but if you see the best part is over last 1 century, what has major change is the
Hmm.
bread winning thing that you need to do. Earlier, the breadwinners were known as men
Hmm.
because everything that was considered to be a bread was purely and purely from physical labor. You need to work on
Right.
factories. It was all physical.
Right.
Where we are hardwired to be much more better physically in terms of most women, not 100% of.
Hmm.
But today it is not like that. Today it's all mind-based economy. The world is moving towards mind-based economy. The world is moving towards if he and she survive, they have to come together to fight the it. That's what they talk about AI these days. So it's us all coming together, but yes, the things are changing. I think the perspective are changing, and women are now taking the role. See Europe for that matter. Most of the prime ministers that are coming up these days are all women. There's tremendous amount of women empowerment that happened 20, 30, 40 years back, and you can see that results coming in. That's what we are seeing in India, like the young generation, the parents that are putting up. I see a very, very different India, specifically with the women rights in next 20, 30 years for sure.
Agreed with you. So as per you, Akshay, what are few steps which can be taken in an organization to ensure that the technology and innovation initiatives are designed with women in mind and are inclusive and accessible to all?
Yeah, I think the first and foremost, what most of the organization miss is to take the feedback from their own people, right?
Hmm.
They hire consultants, they do a lot of stuff, but getting the feedback from their own people, will they be interested in something like this? One of the best, I think so, sessions or ideas really come up when we just tell them to think anything crazy, and that's where it's
Hmm.
coming up. For an organization, so there are two sort of organization. One is a standardization. One is organization specific. Today, when a lot of new tech or new things which have been developed, those are kept keeping women in mind. India is still, getting better in that, but developed economies they have very specific, let's say work from home policy. It's
Hmm.
wonderful. It's wonderful for women who could really want to handle the work life balance. It's wonderful. It's not only about being in office and doing that, and that's where tech has really helped them all. If the tech was not enabling, if the companies were not enabling in doing that, It's not done. In organization, one very important is the communication that needs to be started about the equality part of it, about the including the part of it, and take as much views from women and from the women staff that you have in the office in terms of what would make this application better and more women friendly. When you start taking these ideas and inculcating in your organization, you'll see that small change will have a lot of impact. And the moment you know that yes, you care, and it's been shown that way, women will give even better idea. You know, there's one of the my favorite quotes in nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. The moment
Yeah.
you start showing up, they would come with a lot of more ideas, and that would really help organization to create a platform where the ideas for both men and women would really skyrocket.
Agreed, agreed. So feedback is really very important tool. And if women using something and giving a feedback which could be implemented by an organization would be a great way to create innovations and development platform for women. That
No
is
doubt about it.
absolutely right.
No
So
doubt.
what is that one message, Akshay, you would like to give it to women listening this and all the viewers over there?
I think so. The only message I can give you is, just go and do it. I think so. Nike has put up in a very interesting way.
Yes.
But just reading that Nike story about, when how many people are there in the room who would really run, who runs. Everybody stands up in a room. Then who runs 3 days a week? 50% sit down. Who runs 2 days a week? 5% people are standing. Who runs every day, whether it's rain, snow, or warmth, does not matter. Only a handful of people are standing. And Nike said, these are the people, we are with them because when they run, the only message we give it, let's do it. And I think so. That's the only message is don't be afraid to ask. If you ask, you will get. Don't assume that the other person would know. But if you ask, I can guarantee things would change much more faster. That's the only message.
Wonderful. That's an awesome message. I think all the viewers should absorb. Let's do it shall be the mantra for everyone and move on. Keep moving. That is what Akshay says, that keep moving and keep
Definitely.
asking. If you don't ask, you won't get it. Don't hesitate
Exactly.
to ask for what you want. On that note,
Perfect.
thank you so much, Akshay, for
Thank you,
sharing
Neelu.
your insight and perspective and your valuable time with us.
Thank you so much, Neelu. And thank you for inviting me. Really appreciate that.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. We will see you on next Wednesday at the Revolving Perspective with another interview on the same topic to mark Women's International Day. Why day? Women's International Month. And I say why month? Let's celebrate women each and every day. Thank you, viewers.